All right, guys. Yes, we are already laughing. This is the amazing Amanda Genther. I was just saying before we start recording how I have followed this woman for such a long time. And that is, if you can learn anything in this time, or even truth be told, at any time of building your business, it's building that like, known, trust factor. And girl, you have always done that. You've always shed the light.
Thank you. I love that. And it's so funny because you and there are a few other people in my audience who are like true OGs, like go back so far. And I'm like, and for me, I'm like, why have these people been following me for so long?
But that's a huge thing. Even on what we're going to talk about is just before, and we were like, oh my God, why are we not recording this? Like behind the scenes, like real mama business owner conversation, because you always gave value. And that's why, like, I've left a lot of lists. It gets noisy, but it's like, I always knew if I was on your list between your videos and the things that you just so honestly talked about all the time, I was like, I am never piecing out.
Yeah.
Never.
You know, that's funny that you say that, because I just hired a copywriter to like rewrite my welcome sequence for me. And one of the things that I wrote in there as far as like what bothers me about the online business world, she's like, just tell me what bothers you about the online business world. No judgment here. And I'm like, you know what? For me, the number one thing that bothers me is people saying the same thing over and over and over again, like everybody saying the same thing. And one of my biggest fears in my business is adding to the noise. And I never want to feel like I'm adding or contributing to noise and just like throwing stuff at people that is not valuable. So I love that you said that, because literally everything I put out there, I'm like, is this really like providing true value, or is it adding to the noise? So thank you for saying that.
I'm like, amen. Yeah. Like, is everyone in this, like, this temple right now going, yes, girl, preach it. Because I just said I was talking this week. I mean, we're all talking about the same stuff, and I can't wait to hear, like, I'm like, give me, your tips for how to make it, at any time of business. Because I think what we're talking about is, one, we're going back to an old school approach.
Yeah.
And back when you and I started, in business, and then there was the influx of everyone was an expert, and then that faded out. And I think where people have gotten is they're like, well, I'm going to buy this done for you funnel. I'm going to do this Facebook ad sequence that this person told me is proven. I'm going to do this. And what we fail to realize is, so you mean you don't really know what you want to say, or great, you bought that to save time, like your stuff, like stuff we create, but you haven't like stepped into it. You haven't sat there and say, do
the actual work. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, does my person really need this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure. And I think that's always one of it, right? Is like, do you actually, like, even when I'm teaching sales pages, I always tell people I have like a process for when I write my sales page, and it's basically to create a snowball effect so that when you're not opening up a blank Google Doc, you're not just like paralyzed by a blank sales page or a blank Google Doc. And the number one thing I say is you need to like start in the middle, because the top section is where you need to do the most work. And I know that if I tell people to start at the top of their sales page, they're not going to do the work. So by getting them to do the rest of their sales page first, and then jump back to the top where they have to actually talk to their ideal customers, and they have to actually learn what they want and the words that they're using and all of these things, like what are those pain points? That's where the actual work comes in. And I think so many people try and skip that part. They're just like, I'm just going to throw an offer out there and see if it works, And I'm all about that, right? I'm all about testing and experimenting and seeing what works, but you still have to know, like, what do people actually want? What do my people actually want? What are they asking for? And just like follow that path. That is the easiest path that you can follow.
I love that you said that, because one, I know everyone gets paralyzed in copywriting. Everyone gets paralyzed. Like, I don't know what to say on my page. I don't know what to say in this email. And I don't even think we were recording when we were talking. Oh no, you were just saying hiring the copywriter for the sequence. Yes. It's like you have to just pull back the fear and say, if I really had no fear and I wanted to say this to the world, like, what would I say? What did I experience? What do I see in the world that's not working? What were these stories in my life that brought me to do this, not as a passion, but to really like, change the system, change the way that we speak to people. And that is the hard work. But I think that, just like you said, if somebody really can just stop focusing on the perfect copy, it's like, focus first on what you want to say.
Right.
And then it trickles. I wouldn't say that it trickles for, everyone, but I mean, that's exactly what you teach people, is how to like bring them right in.
Yeah, I teach people how to, in my opinion, there's two ways that you can build a business. The first way is you build an audience first and you put an offer in front of them. The second way is you create an offer and then you try and find the right audience, right? I always build my audience first and then I just listen. I just listen to what they're asking for. Like, what do my people need? What are they asking me for? And you can do that in so many ways. Put in your welcome sequence, ask people, hey, reply to me, tell me what you want. You can I send out a yearly survey. After I send out my yearly survey, I do coffee chats with 20 people on my email list. And I just ask them questions like, what do you need right now? How can I help you? Because it changes so often. What I taught back in 2012 when I first went full-time with my business is so different from what I teach right now. And I wouldn't have pivoted, I wouldn't have shifted if I wasn't listening to what my audience needed. And that's the only reason I'm even still around 8 years later, when most people, and I'm sure you've experienced the same thing, the same people that I started my business with in 2012, most of them aren't here anymore.
Most of them, I go on Facebook and I just want to recap a few things, because I think for anyone listening, when you've been in the biz for a while, somebody's like, wait, but what do you mean just reply on the email? Is that I always say, keep it really simple. Mm-hmm. Just say, hey, I actually just was writing this today in a live, just say, hey, I struggled with. Mm-hmm. I find a lot of, my friends, my family are saying they're struggling with this. Have you struggled? Just hit reply.
Just tell me. Yeah.
Just get people on the phone. They're like, how? And it's just speak to your person. Sit quiet. Listen, look at what's happening in media, magazines, start to just listen. Mm-hmm. And then the second thing that I really wanted to point out is that it doesn't have to be complicated. Is that even
Nothing
you saying
complicated.
Keep it simple, ask people and get them on. I love that you said get them on the phone, because you can't, marketing is an assumption. But it's why waste years? And then, like you said, somebody didn't make it and you see them all of a sudden selling real estate on Facebook. And you're okay, thank God that's not me. But we don't want any person to not fulfill their purpose. Right. So we were talking about what is this chat going to be about? And I think even just going right into, of course, pivoting at this time, but I think even in just what you said, what I taught years ago, you have to pivot because people change and times change and how we process information.
Yeah. As you bring in new people, there are going to be people as you bring in new people, there are going to be some people that realize maybe I'm not the right person for them and they're going to leave and new people are going to come in. So you're constantly filtering in and filtering out people in your audience, and that you have to constantly be asking, what do you guys need to know? What can I help you do? What can I help you learn? What can I teach you? What are you struggling with right now? So you have to constantly be asking those questions.
And I would say for the person who's but when, what, or you're just pretty much saying, guys, always ask.
Just always
seriously,
be asking.
Always ask, whether you, just like you said, whether you do a poll on IG or your people on Facebook, or you have an email, or don't even almost sometimes screw the automation series in the beginning. I didn't do anything on automation. I said, just hit reply. That was it. It was on the thank you page. Here's my number, or call me.
Right.
Here's my email. Just old school,
whatever
really
you do,
making somebody feel like they were really special.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say everyone replied, but I would say a lot of people would be like, oh my God, you just talked about being constipated. I've been constipated for 3 weeks and I don't even know what to do. And I'm now feeling blah, blah. And it's write down,
Yep.
write down, write down. Then it's like, go and create the post or the offer. Like, hey guys, I'm doing a constipation class for only $15.
There you go. People asked. I'm delivering. You ask, I deliver.
So let's dive into the nitty gritty. Is how do we make money during times where it's either uncertainty or times like summer or even September when everyone has their objections? Well, my kids are going back to school. I just paid college December. There is always a way to make money.
Yeah.
So break down your process for us.
Yeah. So this is it's a semi-new experiment that I started, and it actually started back in October of 2019. I took a stab at it. I saw someone in the online marketing space launch a similar funnel, not a similar product, but a similar style of funnel. And it intrigued me. I was very curious. I'm like, how is she doing this? This is awesome. Her name's Allie Bjork too. I want to throw that out there because like all credit goes to her as far as like where I learned the process from, I guess, and then was able to implement it on my own. So shout out to her. Amazing. And so I took a stab at it in October of 2019. And I guess let me share what it is first, because then you'll kind of understand why I didn't keep it going in October 2018. So the product that is making up the majority of my revenue right now is a $37 product. People are like blown away. I just was talking to someone on Instagram today and was like, wait, you made how much from a $37 product last month? And I was like, yeah, I know it sounds crazy and I wouldn't have believed it. Like I didn't believe that it was possible. And I'm like, no, that's great for her, but that's not going to happen. Like, that's just not going to work for me. So, anyways, it's a $37 offer. And for me, it's my Slay Your Sales page. It is a whole sales page copywriting system to be able to get your sales page up really fast. And the key of this product is that it's not just a $37 product. You also have an order bump, which is if people are listening are like, what the heck is an order bump? So if you ever go to a checkout page and as you're filling in your details, you see like a little box that has a check mark next to it and says like, yes, add this to my order for only $11. That's an order bump. That's basically like, okay, cool. Here's your actual product that you're buying, but do you also want to add on this other little product that can help like accelerate your results or give you a little more information? So it included both the $37 offer, plus I have a $17 order bump. Then the real key is, and it can sound a little complicated, but when you look at it, it is actually very simple how it's set up. Once people purchase, they say, they enter their information, hit submit. Then what happens is they're taken to a one-time offer upsell page, which for me, like I am a professional sales page designer. That's my background. But over the years, I've learned and created my sales page copy framework. But I know that as soon as you write your sales page, the next thing you're going to ask is, well, how the heck do I design my sales page? So what I did was I put my sales page templates as the upsell, because the first problem that people have is writing the sales page, but then it doesn't stop there. Then they have another problem. People always have another problem after their original problem, right? And so the second problem for my audience is how to design the sales page. So that's why that is my upsell, and that's $97. So if someone were to take me up on all three offers, it's a total of $151. Right now, on a $37 like core offer, I have a $50 average cart value, which means that I'm able to run Facebook ads straight to my sales page to cold audiences, which is just crazy and mind-blowing to me. Like that people who have no idea who I am are buying this product every single day. And like new people are coming into my world and I'm like, I don't even know who you are, but you just like bought my thing. And it's so amazing. But I'm able to run Facebook ads straight to that sales page. And as long as I'm making or like spending less than like $20 per lead, I'm making money. Like I'm profiting. I have a great profit. Right now we're at, I actually have all the numbers too. Let me pull it up really quick. I did it today for March. So I'm at a 232% ROI which is just like our goal is to have like basically a 3 times return on ad spend. But anyways, so it's going really great. And last month we made a total of, what was it? $20,628 from a $37 offer funnel. And okay, so now let me go back. Okay. So that's kind of like the overview. So when I first launched this product, it was a little bit different, but I launched it in October 2019 and I was struggling. You and I were kind of talking about this. 2018 was a really hard year for me. I had a sales page course.
Kids.
Hold on, you might have to edit this.
Oh my God, don't even worry.
Let me backtrack. What was I saying? Oh, October 2018. Okay.
It's listen, I just want to say, guys, you can pause right now and know you're not alone. If you have your kids at home and you're like, how am I even running a business? Just give yourself a compassion break.
Oh my gosh.
And just put your head in a pillow, scream. I did that yesterday. I went in the garage. I just screamed some probably inappropriate words, but I was like, that didn't work. I was like, I'm going to go for a run because this feels like summer 24/7.
Yes. I mean, not to get totally off topic, but I was telling my husband last night, I'm like, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. Blessing because my kids are home. They're not even school-age children, but they go to daycare 3 days a week. So they're home with me and I feel like I'm a lot more connected to them. Like I feel like I know them a lot better right now because my 3-year-old, almost 4-year-old, he's been in daycare since he was 12 weeks old, you know? So he's been gone at least 2 to 3 days a week since he was only 3 months old. And now that they're home with me all the time and they go to school even during the summer too. So I don't even like have them home all the time during the summer. And this is just a totally new experience for me. And again, like one reason I'm so thankful for this funnel that I have up and running because I honestly like it would be
it's a blessing.
Oh my gosh,
100%.
So much harder right now for me if I did not have this other money coming in that allows me to put my family first and like make them a priority. My husband still works outside of the home right now. He's considered an essential business. Again, blessing and a curse. I'm like, I'm glad you have a job, but I need some help over here. So both sides of the coin.
I think the coolest part, and that was, and guys, yes, we have sidetracked, but we're going to come back.
Sorry. Yes.
Is that I've said to every, like really what I call the biz besties that have been around in my life for a long time, like reaching out to like the first copywriter I had, the second, you know, and just saying, you know, how can I help? Like, do you need any help promoting? Like, and also just saying like, what's the silver lining for all of us? And at the end of the day, I keep saying, thank goodness I busted my ass, did the grind, what nobody talks about. They're like, oh, remember the ones where it's like launching from the beach.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, now I'm pulling my hair out. My hair is falling out. I'm like pooping 25 times a day. What team do you have and how much does it cost? Where I was like,
exactly. That's always my first question.
Yeah. Like what?
Tell me more.
You paid them $20,000 and you paid $20,000 for ads. Okay. Now it makes sense, but you didn't tell that on the sales page.
Exactly.
Okay. Guys, just a little moment of clarity.
Yes. Rewind. Okay. So what I was saying was that 2019 was a really rough year. And I've been selling a sales page course, like a full-blown a copy and design course on how to create a sales page since 2015. And it's had a couple of like versions and iterations, but it's been my one course. Other than that, I have always done like services and stuff. But anyway, so in 2019, I basically set a goal that by the end of 2019, I was going to be done working with one-on-one clients. I was doing like your typical sales page design process. It would take 4 to 6 weeks. I don't like working like that. I am someone who likes to work really fast and get things done. And I like shorter projects, not long drawn out projects because, you know, things just happen, revisions and delays and all this kind of stuff. And it was just so frustrating to me. And I had basically made the decision that services just weren't for me. Like they were just not for me. So the whole time in 2019 was trying to put so much pressure on myself to make this course work, to sell it, to put it on to be replacing my service revenue with this course. And there was so much resistance the entire year. I could not crack the code. It was like I was totally missing something that people were doing, and I just could not figure out what was wrong. And I think it was just me listening to what I should be doing and not what I wanted to do. So when I saw Allie with her, it's an SLO funnel, self-liquidating offer funnel. When I saw her launch that was like my permission slip to do things differently, because I hadn't seen many people doing this type of thing. Now it is getting a lot more popular to see this type of offer through Facebook ads. But when I saw that, it was like the permission slip. I was like, okay, like I can take apart my course basically and repackage it and resell it and make money from it in a different way versus the typical like evergreen webinar to the
I don't even think, I mean, I would say, and I was just talking to my Facebook ad guy yesterday, and he was like, Rach, whatever you are doing, just don't stop, because it works. And all the other people who I have making $275,000 off a webinar, off an evergreen webinar, the 3-part masterclass, there's nothing. There's no money coming in. And, you know, I think we all saw this with Russell Brunson,
right? But
I know for me, it was like, I kept sitting there and it was, I could see it. I know that I wanted to do it, but I just couldn't, like you said, it was the time that you saw Allison and you're like, huh. And you went through the funnel and it made sense. And you're like, I've got this thing that can literally break apart in a second.
Yeah. And I was, again, I think that's just an example of being willing to take this thing that I have been that I've been selling since 2015 and totally rework it and just go, okay, this is not working. I need to do something different, or else I'm going to get to the end of the year and I'm going to have no money in my bank account and this is not going to work. You know, I was super stubborn when it came to dropping my clients. I had already gotten rid of a few and I was like, whatever I have to do, I'm going to make this work basically. And so anyways, I basically just sat there and I was like, okay, it's not working the way that it's packaged right now. So what can I do? How can I repackage it? And so anyways, flash forward to, October 2019. And that's when I took my first stab at launching this type of funnel. And the whole purpose, I guess where all of the traffic comes from, you can launch it organically and stuff, but keep in mind, it's a very low priced offer. So you have to have a very large audience in order to make like a good amount of money off of this. Now, obviously any organic traffic that you can get going into the funnel is amazing, but if you want to make a lot of money from this type of funnel, you either have to have a super large audience or you've got to commit to do. Yeah.
Well, and I think, you know, let's even just talk about that for a second, because I hear so many people say, oh, I'm doing paid advertising, but it didn't work. It didn't convert. And I always say, and I think this comes back to the old school, the OG business, that business mind that we always kind of had in the beginning, but then we all got funnel crazy. And funnels are great like this when you know your ideal client. Hence, your Facebook ads convert when you know your ideal client audience. And I think it goes back just to kind of full circle it for people who are like, but I don't know what it is. It's like, but guys, we even said, do the hit reply, get people on the phone, give a coffee chat. I mean, that was like, no joke, the blueprint that could be replaced by every 30,000 mastermind. And I'm not saying they aren't bad, because I love James Wedmore, you know, and his is, I think, upwards like that, 25, I think. But if it's not good, if it's just a mastermind that's teaching you a lot of like the evergreen funnel and all these things that did work 4 years ago, 3 years ago. But then what happens? Just like I always say, it's cyclical, just like politics, just like everything.
Yeah.
We go through a cycle in the market where it gets saturated and then it stops working and everyone goes like this. But my whole business, and I can think of many businesses, no names need to be included, who have taught other people how to do this. Now they have the audience, they have the trust, it still works. Yeah. But all the other people who have done this and are still going in very high ticket and saying, but that's my worth. Well, of course it is your worth. But what if you could make consistent money without having your hair fall out and struggling your ass off. And I know that I know that every business owner also gets this point. I mean, even sitting there having conversations with my own mind and saying, it's time to pull these things apart. It's time to repackage them. I don't have to work more. I have to take the time to stop and really evaluate. And even if I need to hire, like, that's why when somebody was like, do you need to hire somebody? It's, if you do need to get unstuck, this is the time to drill down, get it going so you do survive, because sitting in overwhelm
that doesn't
and then working more and being like, but I've been on my IG profile, you know, posting this. It's like, well then girl, that isn't working.
Like you have to, I think the biggest thing, like I love sales funnels. That's what I teach. That's what I talk about. But sales funnels without a strategy are just a lead magnet and building your list, right? Like you don't have, there's no purpose to what you're then going to do with all of those people on your email list. I think that's where people fall short, is like they think of a sales funnel as being, you know, a freebie that leads to you going on a nurture sequence. And then, but if the nurture sequence is no good, then they're not going to end up buying your offers and all this stuff. So I think it all comes back to just having a strategy and a purpose for why you're doing something. And also, like, as you were talking, one thing I think that would be just super good for people to hear is that just because it worked for somebody else, just because this funnel worked for
Girl,
me.
you read my mind. Oh my God. I was like, I literally was like, wait, I'm like shaking.
You're like, wait.
I'm like, oh my God. I like, bless my heart. I love you even more now. It's like, I say that all the time. And you know what? I think this is the interesting thing about the market. It's like, I've always been in love with Ryan Dice. He, for me, takes what I call very complicated funnels and processes,
breaks it down,
makes it really simple.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was at 10X that I heard Russell Brunson, because I knew people who loved everything XYZ, you know, yada, yada, yada. And I would always say, but that might not work. This might be proven. Just like a template on lead pages could be proven, or Kajabi, or any of these platforms that everyone goes, go shiny object, go shiny object. But he said at that 10X, and I was like, oh my God, now I like you. Not that I'm saying I didn't love Russell, but it's like, you've got to speak my language. He said, guys, keep in mind, these are funnels that we feel are proven. But your job is to know how your ideal client needs to be spoken to.
Yes. Because
hard sell, I would say, in industries, fitness, I think, can be a hard sell when you're like, here, get this in a blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But you can still take that same exact low cost offer funnel. Just, you have to know, do I need to put videos in here? Do I need to like tell people my problems? Do I need to make the soap opera sequence a little longer? It just depends for each person.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought that up.
Different. I mean, I am a course junkie. I've taken all the courses from all the amazing people who teach how to create and launch courses, how to create and launch memberships, whatever it may be. And that's the number one thing I've learned, is that, you know, even if it worked for them, and even if it's worked for some of their students, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for me. And not because the system doesn't work, but it just doesn't work for me personally. It's not something I enjoy doing. Like, whatever I do in my business, my goal is to make sure it's easy and it's fun. I want everything to feel as easy as possible. I don't think that there's a reason why things have to feel hard, except for, of course, like the taxes to do on my list right now. That feels really hard, but unfortunately,
but you know what I think is I think the hard part, and this is what I love about this talk, is that if you do keep it simple, the harder part is, yes, really doing that work to understand your niche, putting yourself out there. And that's the testing process.
But that, to me, that is so fun. Like, that to me is so fun, because it is amazing when I ask my people, what do you need from me? And I'm able to use my creative brain to put together an offer and then put it in front of them, and people actually buy it. Like, that is just like, it's still mind blowing to me that that is how easy it can be.
But that's us old school. And I think that's the big difference of, you know, those who I see, like one of my favorites, Bushra. I mean, she has from day one just always shown up, always shared everything, like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
When you have people who show up, and it's showing up, and I just want to clarify for those who are like, well, you guys talk about a lot of things. Showing up means taking the chance to do those videos, even if it's not perfect. Yeah. None of us had diva ring lights back then. We were like, okay.
I'm sitting in front of a window right now. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like keep it really simple and spend more time engaging with people. It's not that you have this one ad and they go here and they go here. And unfortunately, I've seen people pay for, and it really is a great $6,000 perfect funnel. Yeah. But they haven't nurtured ever. Yeah. They haven't built that trust. And that trust, as you and I know, is not just the perfect blog. It's all of it together. It's engaging with people. It's getting to know people. And if we change the mindset to say, wow, this could actually be easier if I put the fear aside, work on my mindset, which is a daily 24/7.
Oh, man, do I. Have I learned that over the last year?
Just get ourselves out there. And I think that's why when people are like, out there where? It's like, that is the process. That is the tough
figuring
business
out
part.
Where to show up. Yeah.
Where to show up. And that is when it is tiring, because you've got to show up in a lot of places.
Yeah. And that changes also as well. Just to throw that out there. I used to focus all of my time on Facebook, and I am not on Facebook at all anymore. Like, my entire business is on Instagram. Not my entire business, because I don't even have that many followers on Instagram. But like, that's where I'm showing up on a consistent basis, though, because I think the most important thing is, instead of trying to be everywhere, is just being consistent with where and how you show up. Yeah. Like, for me, it's Instagram stories. That is my favorite place to show up. I barely even.
But that's where you sell. I mean, I think that's
I love stories so much. Like, I think that is where it's at on Instagram right now. I think Instagram newsfeed's kind of like, it's kind of taking over the role of like blog posts in a way.
Well, and I feel that, just like when somebody said to me years ago, you have to see, like, and I think this gets into a bigger topic that we can do on a session, on a part 2, is it's not just the funnel. Like, you have to know as a person how you convert the best. Yeah. So I always think, most of us were waitresses, bartenders, we had jobs. Like, are you great face-to-face? Are you great in teaching? Like, really get to know your style of your archetype, your like love talk. And then when you show up in that love talk in the way that feels comfortable, it's like Twitter moves so fast. I never spent time on Twitter. I was like, whew, okay.
I forgot about Twitter. I used to be on Twitter all the time too. Like, back in the day, I don't even know if I have a profile anymore.
But then we just make choices. And I think that's the really cool part about when you do that work. Yeah. You get to know what works the best. And then you, as you said, stay consistent with it. Yeah. Let people get to know you, because if everyone has, let's even just say a $37, XYZ, they're going to come because they feel you on the page. Yeah. They feel you and they go, oh, let me check out this girl on, where is she? And that's what I think we've lost. Funnels work great, just as we said, but you also have to be your funnel.
Oh yeah. You have to still be especially because the way I think about it is, this $37 offer, yes, it's making me a lot of money right now, but also, like, my long-term goal is those people I want to work with in the future on larger ticket items. And those are the perfect people. I'm like literally attracting my ideal customers through this offer. And now my job is to take those people and get them to stick around and become clients. Yes, exactly. And the way that I do that is by showing up and nurturing them and getting them. Because again, like, they bought this $37 offer from me. And if I don't get them to know, like, and trust me, then that's all they're going to buy from me. So, okay,
I call that the one-hit wonder. I can't tell you how many people. I had a coach that sold a detox, no joke, 397 people.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Wow.
And then she fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And she complicated a lot. She was like, I've got to be an infusion off this person. I'm hiring this team. And I was
I've been
like,
there.
I'm like, wow,
So
if you could
there.
have literally taken those people and just said, hey, you want to do group coaching next month for only like $50?
Exactly.
Roll with me. This is what we're going to be doing. Or maybe you have it, but that's also, I think, the beautiful thing about when you don't overthink the funnel and you just say, where do they want to go next?
Yeah.
What is the best thing? What is the best path? Let me ask them. And then you have these back offers that really feed into their commitment level, where they are, but you got to listen. Because people always say, but they didn't buy my 60-day weight loss. And I bought this from you. I'm like, but did you listen? Did they say wait? Or did they talk about stress eating?
Yeah.
Like, you can always lead them to where you know they got to go, but you have to listen. And that's business.
Yeah. And also making sure, one thing that I see a lot is like, why are people not buying my thing? And I'm like, well, how often have they, like, do they even know that it's available for sale? I think that's one of the biggest things about having like a really strong sales funnel and nurture sequence, even after people, after people buy a product, is making sure that they understand what that next step is. Don't just let somebody buy a product and then not tell them what that next step is, because your job as the business owner is to know what that next step is for them. Like, okay, great, they've crossed this hurdle, but what's next? What's that next hurdle that they're going to have to cross? And is that something that I can help them with? And if it is, then it's your job to make sure that they know that you can help them. So I think that's, again, it's just taking the time to figure that out and put it in place, and not being lazy and just putting one offer out there and just, okay, good to go. I made $10,000, good to go. It's continuing the process, because I don't even know what the percentage is, but it's a lot cheaper to keep your current customers than it is to find new ones, right?
I know some coaches who are like, no joke, I have 365 people on my list.
Right.
But I love them. I meet them. And that's what we're even talking about, pivoting. You might not even be online right now, but then pivot your offers that you offer one-on-one.
Yeah.
It's like, meet them where they are.
Yep.
Meet them where they are. Let them get to know you. Brendan Burchard teaches this. And I only knew this because I hired a high performance coach. I was like, I am an overworker by nature. I've got to get my shit in balance, because I was really struggling. I wasn't struggling in the work. I was struggling in every other part of my life. And, and she even said, she was selling to me, she's like, well, we could start here at a 90-minute. And if you want to go forward, and I stopped her, I was like, listen, I do this in my business. Who taught you this? And she goes, this is what Brendan Burchard teaches. And I'm like, that's brilliant, because that's like the $37 product.
Yeah.
It's a non-committal. And then
it's just the lead generation, just bringing people into your like sphere, and then, and then keeping them. That's the hardest part, is keeping them around.
So I know you've got kids at home. I know one was knocking on the door earlier. So you and I swear, I'm like, could we seriously do a 24-hour Corona or low cost offer survival? We probably could, and continue to talk for about 24 hours.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, with that being said, just tell everyone where they can find you. They can watch your IG stories or site, anything.
Yep. Yeah. So you can come find me over on Instagram at Amanda Genther, and that's Gen. Everybody wants to do a U instead of an E. And if you want to check out the product that we were talking about, and just kind of like even just go through the funnel and just see what I'm talking about, even if you don't purchase, just kind of get an idea of what type of offer I'm actually selling for $37. Because I think that's really the magic of this type of funnel. When you see it, you're going to be like, holy crap, you're giving this much stuff away for only $37. And that's the beauty of it, is it's a no-brainer price. So if you want to check that out, you can just go to slayyoursalespage.com and you can find it there. So those two places. And then obviously you can find everything else on Instagram. So just
and guys, the show notes will be here, so you can stalk her. I'm telling you, stay on her list. I don't say that about everyone, but the value from your podcast and just everything that you do, it's just it's value. And I think if anything, it's a consistency of value.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So guys, if you can follow her and learn, that's also how you learn how you want to be.
Yeah.
So go do it. Don't overthink. Don't overcomplicate. And we will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.